Get ready for hot takes and insight from local industry experts in real estate, business, and lifestyle. He used to play ball with the Padres. He played hockey for the Lobos. Now they're crushing it in the real estate game. Together, they'll showcase the best of the Duke City. This is All About YouABQ.
Oh, welcome back. It's all about YouABQ. Now, the goal of the show is to highlight the best of our city's industry experts in real estate, culture, lifestyle, so that you walk away with some value and feeling inspired. Now, the way we like to do that is to answer the questions you may have or interview the guests that you want to see. So we invite you to join the conversation. You can reach out using the hashtag up above or join our email list to get some timely tips about our community real estate market. Hey, I'm Skip Adams, owner of Sold by Skip Real Estate Brokerage here in Albuquerque.
Grant Harvey, Vision Mortgage Home Loan Specialist.
Oh, you are quite special. You might know Grant as the head coach of the University of New Mexico men's Lobo hockey team, but now he's absolutely crushing it in the mortgage game.
Skip Adams, star of HGTV's House Hunters, and tell you what, part of the top 2% producing real estate agents in the city.
Yeah, another warm introduction. Here's why you're going to want to stay tuned. We're joined by Steph Sugar of Sandia Sugar Burlesque here in Albuquerque. So if you're looking for a fun date night, stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss this segment. It's going to get colorful in here.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to get real colorful. Grant, what have you been up to, buddy?
Oh man, let's see. Did some house shopping and maybe put something together here for a house purchase, maybe on the other side of the river. I was also, we could talk about that in another show, but we'll get into that later. But what I did want to bring up is that it was National Eagle Scout Day yesterday. And so, Mark, cue up the old Boy Scout.
Nerd alert.
Yeah.
Look at him.
There I am in the back.
Look at him, all the way on the right.
That's not me. I'm in the middle. Go ahead, flip through them here. That's me in Cub Scouts. I think I was back there. Had the hair slicked back. I was at a middle school that was pretty gangster, so I had to assimilate. That's the haircut right there. And let's go one more. Yeah, and we got my Eagle Scout in 1997. Only, I think, 2% of Boy Scouts actually get them, and like 0.25 of the population has their Eagle Scout. So it's a big accomplishment. Very nerdy then. There's the guy that'll save you from a bear and a turtleneck. Guess whose neck is warmer than yours?
Tommy Turtleneck?
Yeah. So there I am in the cardigan. I just came up with that picture, so that was about the time I was doing Boy Scouts.
Well, so that was a nice little trip down memory lane.
Yeah. I wish I had my turtleneck.
I got into an argument with Grant once, and he's like, dude, what are you talking about? You don't even know how to tie a clove hitch. And I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? He's like, I'm an Eagle Scout.
It would be a bowline or two half hitches or a taut line hitch, but if I...
Clove hitch.
Yeah. What'd you do?
Interesting, man. Hey, check it. I got to meet the mayor. Meet the mayor. You know how he introduced himself? Hey, I'm Mayor Tim.
Really?
And I thought that was kind of, I didn't recognize the mayor.
Was that pretentious, or did you like it?
He's like, what did he say? I'm Mayor Tim. I'm Tim the mayor, or something like that. But which I thought was just like funny, because I was like, yeah, I'm Skip the
blacksmith.
Skip the blacksmith. But no, a cool event this week. So down at Tingley Field, if you're not familiar, Tingley Field is located across the street from the zoo. A couple of baseball fields. So giving back to the community, I was invited to do a baseball camp here in town. And here's an old picture of Tingley Field, what it used to look like.
Interesting.
So 1946, this was the home of the Albuquerque Dukes, Tingley Field.
Oh, that's neat.
Since been demolished, and now it's just two giant softball fields, I think. But great event. We had 300 kids show up for the Roberto Clemente Memorial Baseball Camp. And again, Tim Keller came. Media was there. It was a good turnout, and so he kind of threw out the ceremonial first pitch of the baseball camp, gave a nice little speech. But dude, nice guy, man.
How'd you find out about that?
What, the baseball camp?
Yeah.
I was invited by the Alumni Association for Pro Baseball Players here in Albuquerque.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it was good. It's always fun to give back to the community. And then it was the first time I've thrown a baseball in a while. And I got to work with the 9-year-olds. If you're not familiar.
Hey, listen up. How are you coaching? Listen up. Yeah, hey.
And here was the killer. Orbits, the mascot for the Isotope, showed up as well. So it was just like Orbits running around and 9-year-olds chasing him, and me just standing there going,
like, dude, Orbit, stop, go over there.
Go hide.
I'm already having a hard time. Coaching kids is really hard. In fact, I don't do it because it's so hard. I coach just hockey players are probably 16 and up because I don't know. You have a kid. This is training for you. I have a hard time.
It was a challenge because it was like we had like 29-year-olds running around. Either way, yeah. So that
with
was
their
cool.
vape pens.
Yeah, they were all vaping and drawing in crayons.
Yeah.
But Tingley Field, which was something I didn't know. I didn't know that that's where the Albuquerque Dukes used to play.
I didn't know either. That's great. It's a good little
Yeah,
piece of
so,
trivia there.
Nice little piece of trivia. But talk a little bit about the home buying process. So I know you were interested. You're kind of snooping around looking to pick up another investment property.
Well, I'll tell you, from being in the profession so long, you can kind of get numb to what it was like when you first bought your house. And I know what it's like for other people, so I coach them really well. But for me, I was like, ooh, let's find out what my credit score is, right? I mean, so you can find out pretty much the hard way when you go through the process yourself. And, you know, something I didn't tell you, I found someone to open up a credit card in Barclays, and I shut it down yesterday. So good thing I pulled my credit, but that was the only credit bureau that I didn't put a lock or a freeze with. So I invite everyone. Here's some tips for mortgages. Let's get into our mortgage minute. Okay, we're going to have a two-step maybe mortgage minute here. The first one I was alluding to about locking or freezing your credit accounts. So Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion all have credit agencies. I have actually had identity fraud happen before, and people tried to ship out money and wired and knew everything that I had, probably from the dark web. So what I invite everyone to do, and I used to think credit fraud was like, oh, everyone's so worried about it, but man, it even happened to me, a mortgage broker. Call each bureau and say that you want your credit account frozen. No one can take out credit in your name once you do that. That's very helpful. The other thing I want to talk about credit today is what happens if you don't use your credit for a while. If you leave your credit dormant, don't use your credit cards, haven't picked up any type of financing, you may have a prior credit score, but the credit bureaus will reply with you have a 0 or a dash, meaning you don't have a credit score anymore. So people that have used credit in the past are often victim to this, so you have to get your credit always going. So always have a credit card that's revolving under your social security number, and that will preserve your credit scores. But if you don't do that and you leave it dormant, credit agencies take your score away. That's our mortgage minute. Or you get an 8.
My credit score is 8.
It's
Now, I'm not putting that out there, but
it's
an 8.
It's
100, ladies. That's
Yeah.
right. Line it up. Coming up, here's why you're going to want to stay tuned. Steph Sugar of Sandia Sugar Burlesque is going to be in the studio, and you're not going to want to miss this one. This is going to be a colorful episode. In fact, you're probably wondering why I'm wearing my pink socks today. That's because I want to fit in. And then obviously stay tuned to the end of the show for the mind-blowing
marriage saving
Skip's tips. Stay tuned. It's YouABQ. Welcome back to YouABQ. I'm Skip Adams, owner of Sold by Skip Real Estate Brokerage here in town.
Grant Harvey, Vision Mortgage, home loan specialist.
Do not adjust your set. Yes, I've got pink socks. We also have something growing behind us here. Something pink.
Boa.
Yeah. Here's why you're going to want to stay tuned. We're joined by Steph Sugar of Sandia Sugar Burlesque Company.
You got it.
And this is going to be a wild episode. So, Steph Sugar, welcome to the show. It's great to have you. Look at, and
Thanks
honestly,
for having me.
I'm so glad. I almost wore the same thing today. But
well, I know, black and yellow, it's like united, like we kind of like to celebrate those colors here, so.
This is the best our set's ever looked. Look
know.
at what we've
you.
got. I've got neck dressing back there.
I've always thought we needed more of a female dynamic here. Every time we have a female guest, I'm always just like, yeah, it like even smells better in here. You know what I mean?
Awesome, great.
Anyway, Steph, you have such a cool backstory in the fact that Vegas girl, as we can tell, I mean, Vegas through and through.
Trying.
But talk a little bit about, how you ended up in Albuquerque.
So my dad's side of the family is originally from here, and I was born and raised in Las Vegas, and around 15 years old, I'm assuming it was, a smart parental decision. They were paying attention to the housing market, and they were like, we gotta get out of here. So my dad was actually there for like 9 months trying to sell the house while our first year out here. And what really brought us here, besides family, was just the fact that it was like a growing type of city at that time. And that was 2004, 2005. So for my parents to be able to sell their Vegas home and buy a house double the size significantly out here in Albuquerque, it was kind of like a no-brainer at that point. But also like just seeing how the city, that was at the edge of like the West Side area, so close to Rio Rancho, but yeah, it's still growing. So
yeah, very common story. We have people moving to Albuquerque all the time, and to speak to what you said, yeah, the cost of living here is much more affordable. And one of the places that has the biggest like swing in property values would be Las Vegas. I mean, it goes through such a huge growth spurt, and then the housing market will crash and it's down, and now it's really seeing a rebirth there. I mean, prices there are double what they are here, so we're seeing a lot of people from Vegas
kind of Phoenix like stuff.
Phoenix, Denver,
Yes.
Dallas, all that.
yes, I also have done some acting with Netflix Studios out here. Years ago did some Better Call Saul, and then recently did something last year that I can't talk about because we're on strike, so we can't promote. But it was interesting to see how many people are moving here, because not only it's affordable, but it helps them get more gigs if they have their ID based here in New Mexico. Whenever I bring showgirls out here to headline shows, they're always like super surprised how it's affordable to actually go out for like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we're not dealing with like Vegas prices, because it's just kind of like a tourist town out there for one. But they get that view of like, wow, it's like fun stuff here, family friendly. There's still growing community happening in many areas, but art is obviously my favorite area of
you seem like a very artistic. Let's talk a little bit about this whole situation here. So starting at the top, I'm looking at a gold crown.
The anatomy of a showgirl.
Anatomy of a showgirl. So talk a little bit about how long did it take you to style for YouABQ, because I know this was on your radar.
For today. Okay, well, I don't want to say, because everyone else would be like, how did she do it like that fast? But there's some days where it can take 2 hours, and there's some days where I can really rush it into 45 minutes.
I hope you didn't spend too much time on our show. We are non-paying customers.
I know we have.
I mean, I had to do my best to match like my because people can't look at like pictures of me and then see. It's like.
Is this a pretty fair representation? Like, would you say
yes, if this is my banana act
in a drawn cartoonish? This is okay.
Yes. This was designed by a friend, Jamie, that they are on Instagram, and they design other showgirls, logos, merch. So I'm actually going to get t-shirts made with that outfit. So a lot of. I used to own a salon. I started out as a beautician. I was doing nails for 10 years. And in that realm, you just discover you're helping people find their confidence through dressing up and being pretty. And discovering burlesque shows, I was like, it was 2017. I had been modeling already for like 6 years at that time. But seeing a show and seeing how like, it's not a choreographed production. We don't have a boss telling 6 girls to all do the same move. Burlesque is really authentically whatever you want it to be. It can be as classy or as weird or as horrific as you want it to be. We have different themes throughout the years, so it's kind of like Barbie land, like anything goes, and we're accepting of weird Barbie and we're accepting of stereotypical Barbie.
Okay.
I kind of like to be stereotypical classic today, but I do cosplay Harley Quinn.
Oh,
this is my Catwoman act,
yeah,
yes.
so you started, you seem like you're comfortable around people. Were you always comfortable around people?
Kind of growing up in Vegas, my dad and I had a really cool hobby of autograph hunting. So I got to meet stars like on the day of going to award shows. And my dad is just like, go up to them, ask for an autograph.
Yeah.
Go say hi, go tell them you love their stuff. I'm like, okay, it's like the guitar play of Scorpions. It's Christina Aguilera. It's James Brown. I got a picture with Michael Jackson at 8 years old. It was like
That's good.
really, really crazy in-your-face stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think they really prepped me for that, whether I liked it or not.
Yeah.
But I mean, looking back at it, that has to be some sort of help. But also at the same time, it's just Comic-Con's really helped me open up too. You're talking to all different spectrums of people, all ages, young, old, and I have kids of my own. So one of them's really outgoing and one of them's really shy and closed up and needs a minute. So I think it's just getting out there and doing it.
Okay, what age was your first show you did, burlesque show?
That was 2017.
Okay.
So I've been doing this for about 8 years.
Okay.
To like perfect this, and I would say I've gotten more intense with the details in the last 2 years, probably because we had so much time during COVID.
Yeah, a lot of mirror practice.
Yeah, there has been a major influx of performers after COVID as well, because we had so much downtime. We're watching YouTube videos, we're studying, so There was a lot of virtual shows, there was a lot of virtual classes, and some of those virtual shows I sang for or was part of helped me get booked once doors opened. So it was really interesting to like figure out how to be both online and in person.
We'll talk about doors opening. I mean, what is burlesque? I mean,
it is the art of tease. It can be done in a comedic fashion. The first ever burlesque was like 1900s, and it was a chorus line of girls, and they were just on stage doing like la 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 stuff, but they would do outfit changes in between their songs. And one girl started just pulling her bloomers off as she was leaving the stage, and the crowd lost their mind. So then the producer was like, get out there and do that again. And like, you know, that's back in the day where you did have a boss telling you what to do.
You're showing ankles? Whoa, then we're losing it, yeah.
Yeah, and this, I mean, we didn't have TV, we didn't have websites, we didn't have a way of seeing stuff like that unless you went to a burlesque show. So, you know, now that we do live in a day and age of the internet and, you know, we can watch a show virtually, by us still keeping the art alive, it's very historic and it's very empowering.
It looks like you have some inspiration, right? I mean, it looks like there was,
Yes.
you have some artifacts from a burlesque history. Tell us who.
This is a straight up 50-cent magazine from the 50s showing like just advertising different dancers and different shows that you could go to. This is Tempest Storm, one of the top burlesque performers in history, and she just recently passed away a couple years ago. So it's very eye-opening to just kind of see how it was promoted back then. And it was very cheeky, but still organized in a way. And someone else was designing you. We didn't get to
in
design
society,
ourselves.
how was this taken in, perceived? Like, was this an acceptable or was it taboo?
It's kind of like now.
Okay.
It just depends on the crowd. It depends on the venue. There's, you know, Vegas Strip has their shows that like they want designed a certain way, but there's still off the strip, there's burlesque that is like me. And, you know, we look like we would be on the strip, but we aren't because we get to do it ourselves.
That's where I like her kind of bringing this act locally. I think that's cool that she took it with all its merit and said, I'm gonna give you that type of show in here instead of going, it's just Albuquerque. Like you're taking pride in your work. That's great.
Right, and our burlesque scene here is a very big mix of cabaret, of drag, of burlesque.
Cabaret.
what is cabaret?
Yeah, separate.
What?
So if you've seen the movie Burlesque, that is cabaret, because there's not a single burlesque scene in that whole movie,
Okay.
and it is a fire of a topic in the burlesque scene because we will go up to people and be like, oh, here's a flyer for our burlesque show, and somebody who's never been is like, oh, like the movie? And we're like, no, not at all.
It's
Worse.
not choreographed, it's not high kicks, it's what?
Well,
It's-
it can be choreographed. We make it ourselves. There's people that are ballet trained dancers that grow up and they turn into the most amazing burlesque performer. And then you have someone like me who has just watched my mom and all of her rock star type of friends do music videos and stuff, and we're just out there having a fun time flipping our hair. So
Well, we had an interesting conversation up front, and you said, you know, I have a cool story to tell about burlesque and bringing it to Albuquerque, bringing it to light, and think about it more as a date night option. So talk about some of the places that you guys are playing live and what that looks like.
So date night is a super great excuse to see burlesque. It is really for any occasion, but I would specifically say Teddy Rose here in town is a speakeasy that is in Nob Hill, and it's hidden behind Matucci's. And
We don't know anything
I don't know
It's
anything
a door.
about it. Yeah.
Well, ask a burlesque.
Yeah. Do you know any?
Yeah, maybe a few. So I am there the first Thursday of the month, we call it like Thirsty Thursday, and it's like from 8:30 to 10. It's a free show. You just have to make a reservation. So it's basically me and a friend. We'll bring 2 outfits. We'll perform 1 act every like 30 minutes, so people kind of get a break to get a drink and stuff. They have great snacks, appetizers, and then they also have a singer, a magician, rotating throughout the month too.
And I'm sorry, that's on Thirsty Thursdays.
That is first Thursday of the month at Teddy Rose.
Teddy Rose
I
is
gotta go.
behind Matucci's?
Yes, the Roma one in Nob Hill.
When you do
It's
that,
a door that looks like, and when you walk in, it looks like a bakery, and you
do
have to say,
people
I'm here.
pretend that they don't know what you're talking about? That reminds me of the old EDM house, like warehouse parties I would go to. I'm like, is this the one? They go,
In
we
the
don't know
middle
what
of
you're
the
talking
desert?
about. No, not Burning Man. But in Denver, I used to go to these warehouse parties, and you would go to the door and be like, is this where it's at? And they're like, what are you talking about? And you have to be like, all right, this is it. But do they do that? Like,
Give you a hard time at the door?
do they
No.
pretend they don't know what you're in there for?
Sometimes it's not like I would say Vernon's
Yeah.
is a little bit more, they have that like
Right.
speakeasy attitude.
Okay.
But no, Teddy Rose, she's a sweet girl at the door and she's like, here you go, and like helping me in.
That's
and
cute.
I'm
Okay.
usually walking in with like, you know, a suitcase and 3 boas.
This
and
is
stuff.
fascinating. We find out with our past 2 guests, right? If we found out what is here, and we apparently haven't gone out enough.
This
That
would be
was I was amazing.
We get to rediscover
Rose.
our own town. That's a fun part of this show, is that people come in
Yeah.
and drop knowledge on us like that. And we're going, well, that would be a fun date
Yeah.
night. You know?
Yeah, and our next little excuse for a date night is going to be me debuting with my punk femme band, Late Night Fist Fight. I'm going to be singing while burlesquers are doing their thing, and we're doing cover songs. So the songs are covered and the girls are not, is what we're saying for this one. This is going to be at El Rey Mezzanine next Friday, August 11th, and it's
love
our
if you
first
did
time
a-
doing a live band burlesque show.
If you did
So
a
this
kitty
is-
song,
Which one?
a kitty. I'd love if you did a
Oh,
kitty
Kitty?
song.
Oh, wow, you know Kitty. Look at you. That's true punkism right there. Awesome.
Yeah,
You feel good about that? Yeah, you feel good about that?
Sorry, Skip, by the way, does not know music, and he doesn't know any band's names, but he claims to love music. But we'll
here
take
we
his
go.
word for it. He likes RMFLAO or whatever. So you're going to, before we have just a little bit of time, I want you to do your thing.
An example.
Yeah.
Okay, very TV safe example.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So usually I'm typically in a banana covered in 11,000 crystals, and I'm spraying a banana scented spray. And then I'm usually wearing this mask. Yeah.
I wish you would have brought the spray.
Talk more about this
Usu-
mask.
Yeah, this is, I'm basically a fruit fly coming out of the banana. Because one summer, I had a different banana type of act, but one summer I just kept buying bananas, and I had fruit flies. And I was like, am I buying bananas or am I buying fruit flies? So then I was like, okay, you know, I'm just gonna come out of the banana as a giant fruit fly. Guess how long this Chiquita sticker took to bling out?
I was going to say that.
Guess how long that took to bling out?
3 days.
Yeah, well, yeah. If I could, basically, if I could condense the time, I would say probably 3 hours worth of work.
Yeah.
But yeah, so typically a burlesque is like, we can be comedic and just act like, oh, it's taking me 5 minutes to take off this piece right here.
Yeah, Skip, it's really not that long.
Where is it going?
Oh.
Yeah.
Now it's like a threat. It's a whip. So a lot of burlesque can be, you know, it's a mustache now. It's a blindfold. It's a bonnet. There's a lot of things that you can do to make your clothes unclose to build the story up. This is just one of my, usually like my little show robes, but you would drop. And then some people like to whip it around as well. You can wear it as like a little sash kind of thing.
Yeah,
And it's
you've
just
been a
really
bad
about
boy.
playing with the clothes, right?
Yeah.
But then we have to have specific mechanics like this, where it's just one zip,
Tear away.
and then we could be like, oh, 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 oh,
What's going on?
I don't know.
There she is. The big
That's it.
reveal.
This
The
is
big
like-
banana.
Yeah, the big banana. So this is like the typical classic showgirl outfit. Posing is you want to look like a champagne glass. So you could do little poses like that. I do classes, so I have a fun time getting people out of their shell. We actually just did a class in Old Town. Thank you to Gold Street, New Mexico. They do permanent jewelry there. She is very all about local business as well. So I am very about local business since I had a salon when I was a beautician. So
Absolutely.
the showgirl business mix is really a big thing that we're noticing too, just online in general. Like, with social media, making your promos, really promoting yourself. A lot of people think, oh, well, I just want to look pretty and get on stage. And it's like, nope, we still have to do all the promo and all the marketing
All
ourselves.
the behind the scenes stuff that makes.
Yeah, I'm like, we are really wearing 6 hats, not just.
Yeah, the event
just one.
the event creation is everything, right? There is
Like I
none of
designed
this.
this poster.
Yeah.
Like on my little phone on Canva. This is all me. So.
I love
Where will this be at?
This is going to be at El Rey, so they have a little mezzanine area on the top floor.
How many burlesque dancers? are
This
gonna be?
night is going to be, we have 8 acts happening, and our headliner is Penny Spectacular from Denver, Colorado. So I usually like to feature a headliner that I met her at the Mile High Burlesque Festival in Denver last year.
Okay.
And it's usually just one big networking thing. You meet someone, you vibe, and then you're like, well, I'm going to put you in my show next year.
Okay,
So.
and that's probably an honor for them to have that. So that's
Yes,
great.
and it's very good to travel. I'm
Okay.
going to the Netherlands for the Dutch Burlesque Festival at the end of September. It'll be my first time going out of country, and that'll make me an international showgirl. So.
Oh, we could say we knew you when.
Yes. I know, it's getting big, and I still don't believe it. Imposter syndrome is very real, so we do a lot of pep talks backstage to be like, no, you're amazing, you're great, you've got
good
this.
enough, you're
Yeah,
smart
you know what's
enough.
great? As much self-confidence as you have, there's always some, whatever your facade is, you have these moments of self-doubt, and I think everyone has that. I think I came to this epiphany a couple of years ago. No matter how someone has themselves collected, there's always self-doubt. Every single person that you think has it made, they have self-doubt. It just happens, and you have to fight it off. It never goes away.
Well, and that just shows that you care about your art. That just
Yeah.
shows that you are passionate, because if you didn't have feelings about your art, then what are you doing?
Yeah, and you would probably remain complacent. So you want to keep yourself up at this high standard you have for yourself.
And I don't compete with anyone except for who I was last year.
Love that.
That's
a good one to end on.
Holy smokes.
Steph Sugar, I appreciate it. This has been a fun episode. I appreciate
Yeah.
you coming in and showing off and being confident and
Thank you.
kind of educating us.
Thank you for saying yes, because it is not often that people even want to hear that word burlesque. It is
My
very
wife was a
shocking.
little skeptical.
Yes.
Shout out Ashley at home.
Ooh, yeah,
you
that-
notice my eyes are
Date
up here
night.
the whole time.
Date night.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see you for Thirsty Thursday at
Yes.
what is
Teddy
it?
Rose. And
Teddy
you can
Rose.
find any of my shows at Style Me Sweet 505 on Instagram, or Sandia Sugar Burlesque on Facebook, Instagram.
And we'll have links to all of your
We've got links.
all of your websites, your shows, and everything that's
This
coming up.
has to be a somewhat of, and a cult following, I don't mean that in a pejorative way, a cult following in the fact that like there is a whole subsection of people that like know about her, and she has a big fanfare. And it's funny, I love learning about our town and our fixtures and pillars of entertainment. So thanks for coming, that was
A
awesome.
lot of networking, yes.
Yeah.
Well, good, Steph Sugar. Thank you so much for sharing your
Thank you.
story. Stay tuned, because we get into the next segment. You're not going to want to miss it. It's Skip's Tips.
Hi, welcome back to YouABQ. Quite a presentation. One of our most colorful guests we've ever had. Appreciate you coming on. We are now going to get into Ryan Reynolds' Skip's Tips.
Skip's Tips. Anything that saves us time, makes us more money, or allows us to have more fun, whether that's in real estate or real life. Property values continue to rise, but guess what else does? Property taxes. So, before you even start looking at properties, understand how property taxes are going to work. Make sure you're comfortable with not only paying your principal, your interest, but also your property taxes and insurance. And a good way to calculate what the estimated property tax payment will be is to take the purchase price and multiply it by 1.2%. That'll give you a yearly amount that you're going to be owing in taxes. Keep in mind, your property won't be assessed at that new value until the following year. So people sometimes forget about that their payment's going to increase over the first year. So make sure you're comfortable with that payment before you start writing offers. And share this with a friend and tell them Skip said so.
That was a good tip. In fact, it makes me feel compelled to add on to that. So a lot of times lenders will take you have two choices. You could take the projected and you could take the current. I've had customers that realize at the end that the closing department wanted a higher tax. And I would prep them for it, but they were counting on this monthly payment, so it changed the end. So I believe if your projected tax is 35% bigger than the current tax, they will add the new one on. If it's less than that, then they'll let you go off of the current tax rate.
That's important when qualifying for a loan.
It is. It could actually devastate debt-to-income ratios heavily. Good point. Great Skip's tip.
Finally, God, finally getting some respect around here. Special thanks to Steph Sugar.
Steph Sugar, thanks for coming.
Sandia Sugar Burlesque Company. Go see him. And you know what? Come meet us for a Thirsty Thursday, the first Thursday of every month.
Oh, are we committed? Okay, we're going. Yeah.
We're
going.
committed to it. At Don Julio's, what's it called?
Teddy Rose.
Teddy Rose, thank you.
Teddy Ruxpins.
Okay, every Wednesday night, Sunday mornings here on the Education Channel and worldwide at the YouABQ podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Wide.
Prestige, this is all about you, ABQ.
watching YouABQ.